There is a new feature in the Creators Update that will allow you to limit installation of applications to the Windows App Store only. If you choose to enable this feature, it would mean that no applications could be installed from a disk or from a download from a website. This feature can be found by going into Settings. So I'll go to the Start menu, to Settings, and I want to go to the Apps category. I want to make sure I'm in this main section, this Apps and Features section, and then the first option here is Installing Apps. I can open up this menu and I can change this. So by default, it's set to allow me to install apps from anywhere. But if I wanted to, I could change this to only allow apps from the Windows App Store. When I describe this feature to people, a lot of people are surprised. Why would I ever want to limit where I'm allowed to install applications from? Well, the answer is simply a question of security, or to oversimplify, virus protection. Generally speaking, viruses and malware do not come from apps that you install from the App Store. They generally come from applications that you install from other sources, and sometimes from files that you open in your applications. So if you only install apps from the Windows Store, which have gone through Microsoft's screening process, you significantly decrease your risk of getting viruses or malware. You may have heard of this idea of sandboxing. If we only play with what we find inside the sandbox, we'll be safer. So I'm going to set this to only allow apps from the App Store, and I want to see how that works. So let me close Settings, and let's just go through something as an example. Let's say I wanted to install Firefox. To do that, I would go into my web browser, and I would just do a quick search here for Firefox. And Firefox is another popular web browser that you might want to install on your computer. So when I do the search, I find their website. And here on this page, there's a button to download and install this application. Now, let's be really clear about something. I am not suggesting that installing Firefox is a bad idea. Firefox is a well-known application from a well-known developer. There is no reason to think that it will install malware or a virus. The point is that there are lots of other applications that you will find on the web very similar to this, and many of them do have security issues. I'm just using this as an example for the process of installing something from the web. So let's keep going through this. I'm going to hit the download button, and it's going to download this. It asks me if I want to run it or save it. For now, I'm going to save it, so I have it in my downloads folder. Then I'll open up the folder, and here is the file that I would run to install this application. So I'm going to double-click this to start the installation, and then I hit a wall. It's not going to let me install this app because we set it to only allow apps from the App Store. And it actually gives me a button I can click here to go to the App Store, and I could browse through some of the apps there. Or I could click on this button here to open up Settings. It takes me right back to Settings, right back to that specific option that we changed to limit installation of apps. So I could change this option. I could go into this menu, I could set it to allow apps from anywhere, then I could go back and install Firefox because I know that it's safe, and then I could come back here again and set it to only allow apps from the Windows Store again. So the way I just did this, and the fact that I can change this setting whenever I want, this feature kind of serves as a reminder. It's the computer saying, hey, I just want you to remember you set this so you cannot install this application. But think of it this way. Only a person who is signed in as an administrator can change that setting. So if you are configuring a computer for a child, or if you are an IT administrator at a company and you need to lock down certain features before assigning computers to employees at the company, or if you're configuring a computer for a public workspace, this option can be really valuable. Just so you can see it, I want to sign out of this user account and sign into a different one. So I want to make sure you see I do have this set to only allow apps from the App Store. I'm going to close all of these windows and sign out of this account. So in the Start menu, I'll go to the Accounts button and I'll hit Sign Out. And then I'm going to sign in again with a different user account. So I set up another account with the name Joseph. I'll put in the password to sign into that. Now, this user account is not an administrator. This is a standard user. And as I'm sure you know, there are a lot of features on the computer that cannot be adjusted by somebody who is not an administrator. So, signed into this account, I'm going to go to the web. and I'm going to try to install Firefox. So I'll just do the quick search, download it. So once again, I'm going to save this. I'm going to open up the folder, double click to try to run that installation. And of course, I hit that same wall. But this is interesting. If I hit this button that says Open Settings, it takes me over to Settings, to the app settings. And here, I do not see that option to change the permissions for where applications are installed. That's because I am not signed in as an administrator. I'm signed in as a standard user. So I would need to go to the person who has the administrator account on this computer, ask them to sign in and change that setting if I really needed to install this app. So this is a great administrative tool to lock down a computer so that it cannot install applications outside of the App Store, protecting it from potential security threats like viruses or malware.